Neon Genesis Episode 3. This episode was really fun and I hope y'all enjoyed it, so let's get to talking about it. So we finally get to see Shinji training. It's like somehow he was able to pilot it the first time with no problems, but now he's finally getting the training and he seems like it's got it down to a T. And if you notice, his expression is kind of just blank. He doesn't seem to care. He kind of seems like he's gonna do this, and I'd assume it's almost because of his dad, and he just wants to prove his dad he's gonna do it and kind of be, heartless about it. But he's convinced that he's gonna do it. And then we get to move on a little bit later on and get to see Shinji's life and how it's gonna be in this new place that he's living currently. And obviously we get to see Misato. She's being a little bit lazy, but it's pretty funny because he's checking in on her and she's like, "Get out, I need to sleep more." And a little bit later we get Ritsuko checking up on him, and we kind of see that everyone sees Shinji as kind of a loner. And she explains that some people just don't click well with other people. And so later we get to see some new faces. Now these are Shinji's classmates, some of them not important. We get this shot of Rei. She's there, which is really funny. She never says anything and she's always beat up. And we know that they're going to know who the Eva is, so I wonder if they know that Rei Ayanami also pilots an Eva. So we get to see some new faces. She calls him Mr. Ida. I believe his full name is Katsuku. I'm not even going to try it. Let's just call him Ida. And Toji. And basically what they're talking about is how Toji's little sister was crushed during one of the fights. And Shinji, obviously, it's kind of awkward for him because he's the next pilot and they're kind of putting the pieces together. And you kind of have to feel for this situation because at what point does everyone not just leave? I don't understand. Like, the city flips down into Nerve almost, and then they fight, and it's like, how many times do they have to rebuild? Like, does anybody else think about that? Or, is it might just be a little weird, but I think it's like, I would have left a long time ago. I'm not going to wait for these things to keep happening. However, we follow up, and it seems like these two girls are messaging Shinji, and they're pretty much like asking if he's the pilot of the new Eva. And he lets them know that he is. And this kind of pisses Toji off. And I hope I'm allowed to say that on YouTube. I'm not too sure. But I'm new to this, so we're figuring it out. But yeah, so he kind of figures out, the girls go crazy. And then Toji goes out and just kind of punches Shinji in the face. Now, he says he has to do this basically just because Shinji's a new student. But there's kind of some like passive aggressive, like, you're the reason my sister's in the hospital right now or injured. And so it kind of makes sense, but it's pretty funny because we kind of see completely soulless Rei Ayanami, and she's just looking at him like, "Hey, there's another angel. The second angel has shown up, and let's go to work." And here we get to see the city just kind of disappear, and I think it's hilarious because I guess they don't have to rebuild, and when the city flips, it looks like the buildings go away, but I guess some stay because whenever Shinji fights the second angel, there's still buildings around. And here we finally get a look at the second angel that has shown up. And I think it's pretty cool because all of these angels have a nice design to them. They're all kind of unique in their own ways, and they'll show that. And so we get to see this show up, and there's no names for these. They go by numbers, so it's first angel, second angel. They have no specific like cool names, like if they would have just given them to them like other animes, but it's all right. I'm cool with it. But yeah, so we get to see Shinji launch, and this time I feel like he's a little bit more prepared because he's been training. And so they go ahead and pop him in there and launch him out. And it's pretty cool because still, if you're new to this, you still get the feel that this is just a robot show. I mean, I love how deep this anime is going to go, and I hope that if you stick along with it or at least watch it on your own, it blows your mind because the direction this anime takes is incredible. And so we follow up with the classmates, and they're just sitting. Now, they know a fight's about to happen, so they're just like, evacuate and go hide. And this is why I'm basically like, why do they still live there? You might as well just leave. But, I guess all their parents maybe work for Nerve or something. I don't know. But we continue out, and the boys sneak out. They want to get a closer peek of it. And so they finally do, and they get a close-up shot of Shinji fighting, or Shinji in the Eva fighting this second angel. And here we are. Shinji deploys. Super cool. Shoots out the ground. I really like how they do that. And if you notice something that's really important, you'll see that these Evas are always connected to a plug. Now this plug keeps them going, so they can just keep fighting forever pretty much. Now if it gets unplugged, or as you'll notice, or if you did notice during the episode, they basically run out of time. They have like a 5-minute timer, and as soon as that runs out, the Ava can no longer be piloted. As you know, it's just a big piece of machinery, or that's what we think. And once it runs out, it's no good. So Shinji's cord snaps off. We basically see the timer countdown, and everyone's, on their toes at this point because, Shinji's still new to this, and we have an angel running around. We don't have time to charge stuff. And I will say, Shinji did a great job this time. I mean, compared to the last time, even though he kind of got his butt whooped in the beginning, it was nice to see him, trained as he should have been. And it's pretty funny getting this shot of, the Ava just getting yoited, just completely thrown into the air. And he lands right next to them. And this is where the problem comes in. Obviously, he can't stand up or move because he's going to squash them. And Shinji's not going to do that. That's not in his character. And so what they do is they basically just let them into the Ava, which is really weird because it takes a whole bunch of machinery to pop that thing out. And so somehow they popped it out and they got him back in, which is incredible. Or the two boys in. And basically, what happens next is, or what you would expect, they can't synchronize as well. So there's a little bit of trouble with Shinji's ability to control the Ava. However, he seems extremely determined, and he keeps telling himself he's not going to run. He's not going to run because he knows that he has a job to do. He wants to impress his father, I'd assume. At least if you're this far in, those were my thoughts, and I believe it continues throughout the rest. But Toji and them, he's basically getting to see what the pilot does, and that it's not just them being reckless. There's more to it, He sees that Shinji feels the pain. Everything that happens to the Ava, Shinji feels. And I think that Toji is in the back of his head is kind of starting to feel bad for him because it's a lot of pressure. I mean, they've got to be 14, 15 years old, and this dude's out here, this kid is out here fighting an angel. So we get the fight, and we basically get to see that this angel has a unique ability to, what would you call that? Laser whip arms? I don't know. I think it's interesting. But Shinji pulls out his knife and pretty much destroys him. And if you didn't know, all angels have a core. And the only way to kill an angel is to stab or obliterate the core. And so we see Shinji go ahead, full attack, and just absolutely obliterate that core. And that pretty much sums up the fight. The angel's gonna give a little bit more of a fight, but Shinji's already done what needs to be done. This angel is no more. And with that, just in the nick of time, with 0 seconds on the clock, Shinji has finished the job. The angel is dead, and they can all move forward. And we kind of skip forward, and we see Toji's head on the desk. And I think this is where he finally feels really bad. He asks where Shinji's at, and he's asking if maybe he should go apologize. And Mr. Ida over here, he basically gives him Shinji's number and says, how about you go apologize to him? And this is a big moment for Toji. This is where, it's good because even though he hates them, he feels for them now that he's kind of seen it first person. And that's pretty much how episode 3 ends. Now, I really enjoyed this episode. I know that the anime gets off to kind of a slow start, but I promise you, the things I'm telling you about how crazy it's going to get are coming. Now, it's going to be, I would give it a couple more episodes, but I promise you, it's so worth the stay. I hope the quality was a little bit better this week. I tried changing some things. As y'all know, I'm still working on it. But if you made it this far, make sure to like and subscribe. I appreciate it, and I look forward to talking to y'all for episode 4.